17th of October 2022. Hope you're out there has a good day today. Start off by saying if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. You may hear some thundering in the background. We're getting a little thunderstorm come through here, and we're going to have a big cold front come through and finally get us down in the 20s and 30s at night where I live, high 20s. It's going to make it good for deer season. Deer season opened up here in Alabama where I live the 15th, so that's good. To get to the point of what we're going to talk about today, a lot of people, you'll hear them tell you need a bug out bag, you need to have a place to go, you need to know what you need in that bag and everything else. The part they forget to tell you is when to go. That's a decision everyone has to make on their own. The issue is if you wait too long, this will happen in the cities and out in the countryside and everywhere. You'll have groups that control a block or a couple blocks and you're not getting through it. Or like where I live out here on the mountain, there is just so many X amount of ways that you can get in here that we could physically close everything off. That you couldn't get as far as going on a road. Now you can still get in, through the woods, up the side of the mountain, through a hill or something. But you could physically close down all access points to that area. And how is someone going to get through it or get to their bug out location that's in that area? A lot of people don't think about that. That's one of the things that you really need to be sitting and trying to figure out. If SHTF event happens, do I know when to go? Most people's going to sit there honestly and wait. They're just going to sit there and wait and make sure, like if it happens, across the country, they're going to sit there and wait and see if anything happens close to them. The problem is once it happens in your area or close to you, that's when panic starts. That's when you got to get out with the crowds and try to get to where you're going to your bug out location, if that's what you're choosing to do. A lot of people will choose to hunker down at home, That's a choice y'all can make on your own. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if your plan is to bug out, you need to have a plan set, and you need to have breakers, trip points of when this happens, I'm leaving. Because you're going to have, and I don't mean gangs either. A lot of people, you're going to have gangs running wild and no. You'll have normal people that'll block off area and say, yeah, you're not coming through here. This is our area, you're not passing through. Or you'll have some groups of, you want to pass through here, what do you got to give me to get through here? That's how that's going to be. Cities is going to be rougher because you have more people densely, populated in that area. If you're out in a country like we are, like I said, you could physically put roadblocks up and people can't come through. Now, like I said, there'll be smart ones out there that know how to come up the side of the mountains or take trails or whatever. But if you're sitting there waiting, when's the time to go? That's something you need to set and figure out right now. You need to figure out, like I said, your tripper, your breaker. You need to figure it out. All right, once this happens, we're going. Once this happens, we're going. If this happens, we're going to set and figure out what's going on. The majority of people are going to get caught in a situation where they cannot get to their bug out location. One, because they chose not to leave quick enough. Two, because they can't access it through a certain area. You need to have multiple ways to get to your bug out location. If your plan is I'm going to hop on the main road and I'm going to drive down here and get on the interstate and go where I'm going, you need to have multiple ways to get to where you're trying to go. Because you're going to run into a situation where people are going to be standing there saying, you're not coming through here. You're not. Or the worst situation possible, you're going to try to get through there and they're going to take all your stuff or something like that. Something worse than that could happen. So, bugging out's a great thing. But how much stuff can you carry? Do you have your bug out location fully stocked for when you get there? Or are you going to plan on trying to bring all your stuff with you? You got to make these plans out now in advance so you're ready to go when it's time. Like I said, I hope it never happens. But what we will see when SHTF happens, we will see people sit and wait and wait and wait. What it is that mentality of it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We've seen so much stuff happen, and nothing drastic has happened from it. So you're going to have people sit there and be like, I'm not going. And then they wake up the next morning, they can't go. It's like, we need to go, it's time to go. They can't get out. That's what we're going to see. If your bug out location is like hours away from where you're going, you need to make a move quicker than someone who's bugging out, a couple miles down the road or something like that. But these are decisions you're going to have to make. A lot of channels on here won't tell you that. They just tell you need a bug out location. You need your bags ready. There's a lot more to it than that. Some channels on here tell you the same thing I'm telling you. We're going to have people sit and wait too long to get out. That's what's going to happen. And all that energy and time you put into your bug out location is going to be wasted if you can't get to it. Have multiple ways to access it. Multiple ways. I'm talking about not just roads. You need to have physical maps, especially topo maps, and figure out ways into your area that does not involve access from a road. That's something you need to learn now. A lot of people nowadays cannot read a map. They look at it and it's just a bunch of scribbles. I'm not talking about an atlas that's got the highways and all that. I'm talking about topographic maps, things like that. People cannot read them nowadays. They're not taught to read them. So you need to get you some maps of your area. You need to laminate them so they can stay, dry if it's raining or anything like that. And you need to learn to read them maps. Topos is the greatest map you can have. It lets you know elevation changes and all that once you learn to read them. And you need to, you map out your area of where your bug out location is. You figure it out on your map. You figure out your trip, but then you got to go physically do these trails to get to them. You got to know your way to get there, because moving at night is very hard. I would not advise moving in the daytime at all. If it's a full-blown SHTF situation, just unless it was a dire emergency you had to move in the daytime. I highly recommend moving at nighttime. Darkness is your friend. A lot of people's out there thinking, well, I got night vision. Not everybody has night vision. If you can get some, get it. It's kind of reasonable right now until you get into the higher end of it. But you can get a pretty good set now for around $200. So that could help you too. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this. How many people do you think, honestly, let's say 100 people, how many of them do you think would sit and wait to try to figure out what's going on before they did anything? With that mindset, it's going to get better. It's not going to happen here. Let me know your thoughts on this. Like or dislike the video. If you're still watching, hit that subscribe button. We are still trying to hit 500 subs. We're 25 away. Some days we'll gain 10 or 15 a day, and then the next day you check it, they're all gone. So I don't know what's going on with it, but every one of you who has subscribed, thank you. Feel free to share any and all my videos. I'm just a normal person sitting here trying to explain to you how we deal with stuff like that, what we do to be prepared and to be ready for SHTF. And I tell everybody that asks me, when's this SHTF happening? I said, it's already happening. It's just going a lot slower than we figured it would. Most of us figured we'd go to bed, wake up the next day, and the world's gone to hell. That's what most of us thought. It's just happening slower. It's a long, drawn out process. But if you're still watching, hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of these. Keep your head on a swivel. Always be aware of your surroundings. You're not safe anywhere in the world anymore. Protect yourself and your family at all times. Stay safe. Get prepped up. Get out there and get you some maps. Get them laminated. Learn to read maps. Learn how to navigate off a map. Stay safe. Get prepped up.